we're seeing more juvenile crime?
It is a question 7 News is committed to answering, as we're seeing an alarming rise here in the DMV. We've highlighted juveniles who've escaped accountability for their actions. Well, tonight we're hearing from a group taking part in a program aimed at keeping them out of trouble. Maryland Bureau Chief Brad Bell has a story you'll see only on 7 News.
They stare at the floor, they stretch out in their chairs. Everything about their body language says they don't want to be here. But after a while, they loosen up and even admit they might get something from the session.
It probably can help me out, but I gotta just really sit down and listen and stuff and just can't keep doing what I be doing.
He is one of 12 juvenile offenders ordered by a court to participate in this community-based program called Jacob's Ladder. We can't show you their faces or share their names. Most have committed violent crimes like armed carjacking. Former PGPD Lieutenant Jarrell Jordan runs the program.
We're going to get it together. Hey, fellas, we're going to put the guns down.
We're invited in to gain insight, to listen and ask questions.
Anybody in here have any ideas why we're seeing more juvenile crime?
Several answer by saying they lack parental supervision.
They're not getting enough help at home.
How many of you were skipping school more than you were going?
10 hands go up. Then they explain why they're chronically absent.
Too many girls go to one school like that.
Too many people from different places?
Yeah.
Like different neighborhoods or different?
Yeah, different neighborhoods.
I don't like somebody thinking they have authority. I mean, like,
That's what I'm saying. They gonna take charge of me or something.
I still feel like I'm in jail when I'm in school. You gotta tell me when I can go to the bathroom, tell me when I can leave the class.
How easy is it to get a gun?
All I can say is easy.
Themes emerge. They lack supervision, they don't like school and authority. Guns are easy to get. Asked for solutions, several say it has to start at home.
That's what they need at home, discipline.
Jordan wraps up the session by offering support and guidance to relaunch their lives and a reminder that they have to make better decisions.
You got to be accountable for your actions. That's just it.
In Fort Washington, Brad Bell, 7.
Following the recent escape of 3 teenagers from the Henley Young Patton Juvenile Justice Center, questions arose regarding how the facility is run and their rehabilitation process.
We bring in, they got classroom instructions, a whole lot of social things that they do.
According to Hinds County Administrator Kenny Wayne Jones, there's about 47 juveniles, including 2 females being held at Henley Young. 6 of the 47 are charged in the juvenile court. The rest are JCAs, or juveniles charged as adults.
The difference is they have been charged in an adult courtroom as far as a youth court.
Why aren't the JCAs being held at the Raymond Detention Center or in prison is another common question, and the answer is simply because they're too young.
Anybody who's a holdover now and Henley Young Detention Center is waiting to become 18. And once they become 18, they'll be moved to the next facility.
Jones says Henley Young isn't just a holding facility either. A lot of the detainees have already been prosecuted, a few already given sentences. But it goes back to not being 18.
If you got a 30-year sentence already, then you just gonna leave that facility and go to the next facility.
When it comes to capacity, Jones says they like to keep it at around 35, but they're able to hold 50 plus.
Whenever we are looking at maxing out, then we have to do some different planning to get those out to do some different things.
Jones says the facility has 30 plus officers as of now, noting turnaround because of the recent incidents.
We have to stay in compliance with the guards that we do have, and we are in compliance with that.
Jones says they are also just days away from announcing the new director for the facility. That director will then be able to make changes if need be. Madeline Nolan, 16 WAPT News.
Another person has died. Department of Correction custody. The DOC tells us 60-year-old Ricky Howell was receiving long-term medical care at the Bellevue Hospital prison ward since February and passed away yesterday evening. Howell was arrested on Staten Island for burglary back in 2021 and sent to Rikers. We're told the medical examiner will determine his exact cause of death. According to the Legal Aid Society, Howell is the 5th New Yorker to die in DOC custody this year.
Approved the reopening of a county juvenile hall. Crews have been working nonstop for the past 2 months to get the Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall in Downey up to speed. This comes after the state ruled in May that the Barry J. Nydorf Juvenile Hall in Sylmar and Central Juvenile Hall in Lincoln Heights were both unsuitable to house youth offenders and ordered them to close. When it reopens, Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall will be able to house more than 300 youth offenders.
Correction officer stabbed repeatedly while on the job at Rikers Island. A law enforcement source tells Eyewitness News he has 15 stab wounds and is in the hospital in serious but stable condition. It happened around 4:45 yesterday afternoon. The Department of Corrections calls it a callous, unprovoked attack. The incident under investigation right now. The accused inmate was rearrested.
Should be held in contempt for not putting in place court-ordered reform at Rikers Island. The Monitor's report said that the city has failed to address key problems, including the risk of violence that inmates face. It also described conditions inside that jail as damp, moldy, infested with vermin, and generally unsanitary. A federal judge is in the process of deciding if Rikers should be placed under federal control. Now, in response to this report, the spokesperson for the mayor's office told us, quote, "We take our obligation to keep people in our charge very seriously and remain committed to reform." The statement continues, quote, "We are prepared to fully defend against any contempt motion."
We all know that gun violence is a huge problem in West Michigan and across the nation. We all want to keep our children safe, and there's a special camp designed to give our kids tools and resources to end the cycle of gun violence within Kalamazoo. Now, we are talking about the Urban Alliance Life Camps. Welcome to James Harris to tell us more about how to get our kiddos involved. James, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about these camps. So that you guys have done some sessions already. You've got more sessions to come. What will kids experience?
Man, young people will, first of all, have a great time. So we have a combination of activities and then also education. You know, so they really enjoy the Nerf gun fights, the water gun fights, right? Paintball. They have an opportunity to shoot a paintball gun at non-human targets. And also, what's really dear to me is kids have an opportunity to express their emotions about gun violence in our community by writing Dear Shooter letters, you know, to individuals who may be contemplating pulling the trigger or who have actually done that. But these letters are letters of compassion and not condemnation, try to encourage. And then the education part, you know, we have our Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety come in and talk about gun violence and gun usage. We have a hunter that comes in and talks. We have individuals that come in and also talk about being licensed to carry, you know, so we're really trying to educate the young people about gun usage, because it's not necessarily the gun that's the problem, it's the hand that the gun is in. So if we can teach them, you know, that our hands are meant to heal, you know, to hug, to give high fives, to cuddle, and so forth, I think that we can move the needle as it relates to eradicating gun violence.
Absolutely. Yeah. And talk a little bit more about the education piece as well, because, you know, obviously, yes, the hand is the one responsible, but I think a lot of these kids maybe don't understand a gun and what it does and how this education can hopefully help them and help other peers as well.
Yeah, and like I stated is, you know, it's just so many recreational usages for guns. You know, I've shot a gun before at a gun range, sure. You know, and I walked away. I wasn't hurt. No one else was hurt. You know, the police wasn't looking for me, you know, and then, you know, hunting is the same way. You know, going to a shooting range is the same way. So we're just trying to teach kids that you can do this recreationally, and not recklessly, you know, hurting individuals.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so how can kids get involved? This is totally free.
Yeah, this is totally free, you know, and young people can get involved by going to Urban Alliance website and registering there. They have to register in order to participate, or the adults have to register them. And our next Life Camp is actually next Tuesday. You know, and I do want to say this before each Life Camp, we always have a march that's student-led in our community, and they did an amazing job, last month. So you have the march that leads up to the actual camp that takes place normally on Tuesdays.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so talk to us a little bit. You've done this before in years past. You've done it already this summer. What is the reaction from the students after they've gone through something like this?
Man, I'm not making this up. They love the camp, and I'm finding out that young people want us to believe in them and to give them a platform for their voice to be heard, because normally, whose voices do you hear when it's about gun violence? Ours, adults. But young people really want that platform, and they don't want their voice silenced. So they just really enjoy being like an advocate for life at the life camps.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And they are impacted just as much as we are.
Most definitely. By you saying that, I'm thinking of two siblings that came to the last camp. Their father was murdered last year. And when that happened, we saw that their life just kind of like depressed and stressed out. Went to their middle school to promote the life camp, and this individual came up to me. I didn't even know it was the same guy.
Oh my gosh.
But this time around, him and his sister were a part of the podcast that we do during the camp. Giving the kids an opportunity again to express their emotions, and then to give us some type of instructions on how we can help our community.
I love that. I love that. We got to give these kids a voice.
We have to. They're so powerful, and we need them so bad. So we're really just trying to create this peer-to-peer education. Because they're in some circles that we'll probably never be in. So if we can influence the influencer, maybe we can move the needle a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. There are some certain age restrictions. Who is this good for? Who can attend?
11 to 16-year-olds can attend. And the reason why we went that direction is because the CDC reports, that homicide is the second leading cause of death, for individuals between the ages of 15 and 24. But normally, when gun violence happens amongst young people, the age 11 through 17 is normally someone that was their friend that committed the homicide against them or whatever. So we're trying to start young and move the needle there, and hopefully as they grow, they can help us continue to create a safe community.
Thank you so much, James, for all you do. And this camp, you got several sessions left. You want to learn more, urbanalliancekalamazoo.org. There are the dates there. We'll be right back.